Guys, what is up? Welcome to, I think, what is episode number 5. I want to say it's episode number 5. I think it is. I mean, obviously we'll know by the time we're playing this whether it's episode number 5. What I wanted to talk about is a couple of the, the ins and outs of what goes into what I do. As far as streaming and all that, all the actual background stuff that goes into that, right? So to give a rough breakdown of my tower, GPU wise, it's a obviously it's a RTX 4090. I think I'm running 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM. I've got open liquid cooling. I've got, everything that essentially I could throw at this thing, we did. So how that came about, it's an interesting story, and I think for legalese purposes, I might have to leave a couple of the bits out, right? But it was the end of the year last year, and, I needed to do some upgrades to my gaming studio, my setup. I was like, it's time to do some upgrades. I had been rocking a PC with a 2080 Ti in it for quite a while. I say probably the better part of 3-4 years, something like that. I got it in, as unfortunately, as we all know it now, as COVID was kicking off, I got it in the summer of 2019. I want to say. So I've been rocking it right at about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And it was doing fine, and it still does fine. But I needed to do an upgrade. So I went out to a couple of different companies, and I threw them a budget. And I said, here's what I'm looking to work with. What can you get me for that budget, right? So I went to Computer Upgrade Kings. I went to CLX. I went, the mainstream route, iBuyPower, stuff like that. And everybody came, very similar builds as far as what I would get in the end product. But what drastically varied was the wait time it would take to get it to me. I heard 3, 4, 5 months, and the main issue being the GPUs. The 4090s were just not readily available, still hard to come by. So that was their excuse, was the 4090 is going to take a while to get a hold of. 4090 is going to take a while to get a hold of. I was like, I don't want to hear that. I'm throwing you a budget that's got 5 digits to it, right? And I was like, if I'm throwing you a budget, rip the 4090 out of your own desktop and put it in there. It's sort of what my mentality was going into, because I was a novice as to all this stuff and what it took. And boy, did they open my eyes to that whole process. So that was my naive approach to it initially, was, man, just rip it out of your desktop, stick it into mine kind of deal. And it doesn't work like that. Based on what you're looking to have done to your computer and the build that you're wanting, it doesn't work like that. So I got a reality check pretty quickly, and one that was needed. So ultimately, the company whose logo you sort of see back there on the box, if you're watching on the video version, if you're not watching the video version, you're watching or listening to the audio version of this. There's a part of my studio has the case that it came in sitting in the back corner behind me. So I went to CLX Gaming. They essentially won the bid. They said, I placed the order a couple days after Christmas, and they said we can get it to you end of January, first week of February. And they were by far the fastest. Everybody else was March, April before I'd get it. So they got the contract, as you were, if I can label it like that. They got the they got the deal. So I spent a chunk of change and looked at it. I was like, something that's exciting as this, put it off in the back of your mind. Just forget about it. It doesn't exist now. Just let it go. And that would have been easier said than done, or would have been, what's the word I'm looking for? Easier done. Had I not kept getting email updates about automated changes and stuff like that going down. The main thing is like the delay process of the 4090 kept getting moved up and down, up and down, up and down. It changed probably 4 or 5 times. The estimated delivery date of this thing changed quite a lot. Anyways, so fast forward to beginning of February, first week of February, roughly. I get another email saying, "Oh, it's been delayed again," and I'm like, "Damn! Now they're outside of their quoted window. Now they're saying end of February, and they'd said first week of February, maybe the second week." So I get this email saying the status has been changed again, end of February. And I got a little animated about it. I'm like, but look, dude, the money's spent. There's nothing else you can do but sit here and wait now. And no sooner had that email been sent, and next morning rolls around, and boom, I get a FedEx tracking number. And I was like, wait a minute, y'all just said end of February, and now I've got a FedEx tracking number. So I give him a call, and I say, hey, what's the deal with this? I just got a FedEx tracking number, but the last email update I got yesterday said not until the end of February. And they're like, yeah, the automated system had a brain fart, essentially, and, it said end of February. Just kidding. So now my level of excitement goes from here through the roof. I'm like dancing around all over the place, high on energy, trouble sleeping. I'm so excited. I get to tell the stream that, hey man, y'all, the new computer's coming, and they've been listening to me talk about this thing for 5, 6, 7 weeks at this point, and finally I've got a tracking number. And one of the biggest things that stuck out to me about this tracking number was the estimated weight of the package. It's at 100 pounds, and I was like, holy cow. I've never known a computer to weigh 100 pounds. And it was coming FedEx freight, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, I don't know what to expect at this point. I'm getting a computer delivered by FedEx freight. Anyways, I think it takes 4 or 5 days shipping. I'd paid for as fast as shipping as possible. So I think it was like maybe 4 days at most. 3, 4, something like that. So it's the day of the delivery. I have to go to work, right? So I left a message and had made arrangements with the management staff of the complex that I live in. I said, hey guys, I've got this thing being delivered. Be on the lookout. I may need a little bit of help. I've got to be at work. Can you help me out with this? It's a very expensive computer. And they said, yeah, no worries. They said, if you have any issues having it delivered to your door and getting it inside, let us know. We'll help out as best we can. So I get as the day goes by, I get a call from FedEx. And it's the FedEx freight delivery person who's got my contact information through the shipping and everything. And it's a very nice lady. And she calls and she says, sir, I can't get it in your door. She's like, I can't even get it up the stairs. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, now how big is this thing? If it's weighing 100 pounds, she can't get it up the stairs. She can't get it through the door, or up the stairs, let alone through the door. She asked me if she could leave it in the parking lot. And I just said, absolutely not. I said, worst case scenario, you take it back to the distribution center and I'll pick it up from there somehow. Do not leave it in the parking lot. This is a very expensive computer. Don't do it. I said, will you let it go to the office staff? Will you take it down to the main office staff and release it to them? You have my permission to release it to them, you know, however that works. She said, absolutely. She'll take it down to the office. She'll leave it with them. So 5-10 minutes goes by, and, you know, I don't think anything of it until the office staff calls me. And they said, David, your FedEx person is outside the office. We can't get it through the door here either. And I said, what do you mean you can't get it through the door? And it was at that point she tells me, because the freight lady never told me this. She said, it's on a pallet. We can't get the pallet through the door. And I've worked in warehouses and stuff, you know, for a long time, and I'm thinking like, holy cow, this thing's on a pallet. And because I'm thinking, you know, pallets of product, you know, I've worked retail in my life, you know, you're thinking pallets of water, pallets of, you know, food, chips, drinks, stuff like that. I'm like, this, you know, thing is massive. And she's like, look, we can't get it in the building, but she said it's bright and sunny outside. She said, we'll put it right outside the main door, and, you know, we'll keep an eye on it, and we promise you nothing will happen to it. And I said, all right, fuck it, do it. You know, put it outside, leave it there, and it'll be fine. You know, we'll figure it out. And so at this point, I'm out doing what I do. I'm at work, and I decide to call it a day early. I get done doing what I got to do. I call it a day early. I say, you know what, I'm going home. I got this computer sitting outside some office on a pallet somewhere. I got to figure out what to do with this. And so I get home, and I go to outside the office, and I see this massive crate sitting outside their building. And if you watch it on the video, I'm pointing at it here in the back corner. That is literally the crate that the crate that it came in. That was sitting on a pallet, and I'm like, oh, now I understand why it weighs 100 pounds. And now I get it, you know. It's starting to make sense. The computer itself doesn't necessarily weigh 100 pounds, but the security of the packaging in order to get it from A to B weighs 100 pounds. That made total sense to me. So I go in there and I talk to the office staff, and I'm like, guys, there's no way I can move this by myself. Can the maintenance crew come give me a hand, at least get it into my living room? I'll deal with it after that. You know, I can crack the box open in my living room, do what I got to do, right? Lady says, all right, we'll call the maintenance staff, see if they're available. They come down and have a look at it, and they're like, what in the world is this? I was like, guys, it's a desktop. It's a computer. You know, I'm a techie. I'm a gamer. It's a computer. They said, okay, you need help moving it? I said, yeah, please. So two guys, awesome guys, came, and we put it in the back of their truck. We were able to, three of us, lift it off the pallet. We cut the bands off, lifted it off the pallet, put it in the back of their pickup. And they drove very slowly from the office to my building, and they were awesome. Carried it up to my living room, and you know, left it there. Really nice guys. I appreciate that. Cracked that sucker open, and it, you know, see the beauty that is now sitting next to me. And you know, if you guys follow on the Discord or something like that, there's pictures lurking around of what the tower itself looks like. So that is the story of how the tower got from A to B, got in here and got set up. So to continue the rest of the setup, sort of audio description tour, if you will, I have, as far as audio quality goes, we'll hit that next. It goes, my microphone's a Shure SM7B. That runs into a cloud lifter. That runs into a Go XLR, you know, mixer, and then that runs into the tower itself. Monitor wise, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 monitors. 4 in use. I have a 4K ultra wide that's just sitting here that I'm not using because I haven't figured out how to get my layout to where that'll work. But above me is a 40 some odd inch, you know, flat screen that's plugged into it. You know, I've got webcam wise, it's all done by a DSLR camera. It's a Sony A6400 that runs to a cam link into the towers. And then that brings us to the most interesting aspect of this, and something that other streamers have and content creators have turned me on to, is actually running a dual PC setup. So what that means essentially is you run two computers. One does the gaming, one does the streaming, and that is designed to alleviate the streaming pressure off of the gaming PC. Now, when you drop 5 figures on a gaming PC, it's not really necessary to run a dual PC setup, because my gaming PC can more than easily do both tasks at the same time, very easily. But from a production standpoint, it is an asset. So my main game, as most of y'all know, is GTA 5 RP on 5M. 5M is notoriously buggy. Crashes, stuff like that. We battle that every stream. But running the dual PC setup means that when that happens, and say it locks something up and you've got to reboot the computer to get it set right, you don't lose your stream, which is awesome, because your streaming PC is stable. All it's doing is operating OBS. That's it. So, being able to maintain that integrity is fantastic, because I've gotten so good at capturing the crashes when they're going to happen. I change the scene using my Stream Deck. It goes to the webcam view, and that is fantastic, because I can keep talking to everybody. I'm like, hey guys, it just crashed. We're going to reboot stuff real quick. We'll get back in there, continue the scene, pick up right where we left off. So having a dual PC setup in that sense is valuable. It is incredible. That is capable by running a capture card in the streaming PC, and I use an Elgato 4K 60 Mark II is the capture card that I run in my streaming tower, and that's connected. One computer is connected to the other via a HDMI cable. And then audio is all run through my Go XLR mixer, in one PC, out the other. It goes through my mixer. And if you are a content creator, something of that nature, and you do anything with PCs, get yourself a Go XLR. Thank me later. They are phenomenal. So that is roughly the hardware that it takes to run a stream. As far as software kind of stuff, it's OBS is what I use. I used Streamlabs originally way back in the day, 3-4 years ago, and it just pales in comparison to the raw version of OBS. For whatever reason, Streamlabs was fighting with me on GTA, and I don't know why, but it was. So I went over to OBS, and I started looking at peers in the content creating world and seeing what they're all saying OBS. Don't use anything else, use OBS. So I swapped over to OBS, and I've never looked back since. I use elements of Streamlabs in my OBS production, so like the alert box, the sub goals, the follow goals, stuff like that is all elements of Streamlabs that have been brought over to work in OBS, because there's certain features that the raw OBS doesn't have built into it. And Streamlabs is nice enough to provide you browser links to those widgets and layouts and overlays and things that you can just simply plug into OBS, and it works fantastically. So that's how I've merged the two over the time. And you watch any content creator out there, pretty much that's what they're doing. They're using OBS with the Streamlab elements brought in. I operate a YouTube channel as well, shameless plug, WhoFlung Gaming. You can find it on YouTube. And the way I do that is through OBS, I can stream and record everything that I do while we're streaming. So I didn't do that until recently. I within the last probably 3 or 4 months did I figure out how to do that, and then the quality of it went up once I got the new computer with the 4090 in it. So I just simply record and stream at the same time. And this is where it gets into the intricacies of names of encoders and stuff like that I don't understand, but I do follow along and get the quality that I want out of recording. So the 4090s can do AV1 encoding. I want to make sure, I'm going to actually pull it up and make sure that I'm getting that right before I say it wrong. But just to make sure that I'm doing everything right. Yeah, it's AV1 encoding, it is phenomenally clear in capturing everything in 4K, because I was concerned that the PC can produce and game at 4K no problems at all. I needed software that could capture that, and I was struggling to find something that met my standard until I started watching YouTubers and tech people on this, and man, has it changed the game. It really has. It allows me to record and stream all in OBS, keeping everything simple for me. And then after the fact, you've got the video on demand on Twitch that's available. You can watch it instantly, which is fantastic. And I can edit down episodes out of that stream right away on content that I've already recorded in, straight away. Get that loaded up as well, get that sent off to YouTube. And it's really made the whole process easier. I use a program called DaVinci Resolve to edit everything. I was an old school guy. I used Final Cut Pro on Macs that I've had in the past and loved it. And so I've been searching for something that is remotely similar on Windows, and come to find DaVinci Resolve. It's the closest thing I would argue that you're going to get to Final Cut on a Windows operating system, and it's fantastic. And I've been slowly learning it over the years, and that allows me to chop everything down, make a nice episode out of it, throw it up on YouTube. If I'm doing something like a day in the life episode that I've done, it's a series now. I think we're on episode 10 or 11 now, something like that. It's all edited through there, and in great 4K video quality, and thrown up on YouTube. And that is, in a nutshell, from the hardware through to the operating systems that I use to both produce a stream and content for YouTube. And then you go into obviously the settings in the games that I'm playing, whether it's 5M, Call of Duty, whatever it may be. For now it's just everything to ultra, everything to max, whatever it is. Boom, the computer eats it. OBS is fantastic at capturing it, and one thing leads into another. It's time consuming is the one drawback to all of it. Is it's time consuming, and finding enough time to deliver the content into the standard that I expect of myself is probably the hardest part of it all, because I still operate a 9 to 5. I've never quit my day job. Ultimate goals of maybe doing that one day, but at the moment I haven't. So it's hard time management wise to be able to find time to do it both, all aspects of it, because I want to be able to stream every day, I want to be able to edit every day, and so it's going to be probably some restructuring of my schedule to the point where I take a day or so off a week, and that's just going to be editing day. Do content 4 days a week, have an editing day the 5th day, and then 2 days off to myself to go out and do baseball, because as y'all know, I'm a massive baseball fan, so go do baseball, stuff like that. And that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give to somebody that's aspiring to do this, is make sure you still take time for yourself. Otherwise you'll go crazy. Take 2 days off, take a weekend, whatever it is, take a weekend, go do stuff. It doesn't have to be Saturday and Sunday. It can be whatever 2 days, but go do it. Get out of the house, do what you got to do, decompress. It helps. immensely. Anyways, guys, this is we've been going about 25 minutes now. Stay tuned for future episodes. My dad's going to be on next week. I've got Chris Netzel Gaming is going to be on next week. Got one of New Night RP's own Origin is going to be on sometime in the future. I don't know if we're going to nail that one next week or not. We got to think, it's syncing up schedules. So those are guys that are going to be in podcast episodes going forwards. I'm excited as hell to have them on. Look forward to it. I'll catch y'all on streams. We're streaming on Twitch, other content on YouTube. Join the Discord. Links to everything will be down below if you're watching, and wherever you can find them if you're listening. I appreciate your support, guys. We will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.